Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. Welcome to this episode of Am I the Asshole? Our first one is from Goodnay Borta. Am I the asshole for embarrassing my sister-in-law after she expected me to pay for her and her friend's bill? So I, 25 female, went out to dinner for my sister-in-law's, 28 female, bachelorette party this past weekend. Between my sister-in-law and my husband, 26 male, sister-in-law has always been the golden child of the family. Growing up, my in-laws coddled her and gave her everything that she wanted, while my husband always got the shitty end of the stick. She was always the popular girl in school, cheerleader, lots of friends, all the boys loved her, while my husband was always a little more nerdy and got picked on a bit. Even my in-laws would give him a hard time about this and say he needed to be more like his sister. Well, fast forward to today. Both my husband and I went to top schools, got our degrees, and currently have very well-paying jobs in tech. I'm not trying to sound braggy, this is just for context, but we live a very, very comfortable life. Sister-in-law still currently lives at home with my in-laws where they foot all of her bills. She had my niece, 4 female, with her ex and is currently on marriage number 2. This past weekend, I was invited to this fancy upscale restaurant in my city for my sister-in-law's bachelorette party. She just wanted to do a nice dinner. There were 8 of us in total. At the end of the dinner, the bill comes out and the waiter hands it to me. I'm sitting there confused for a second until sister-in-law speaks up and is all, "My parents and I were talking and we're thinking you and my brother can handle the bill for this as a wedding gift since you're not financially contributing to my wedding." I stared at her shocked for a moment and then was like, "And you didn't think to bring this up to me beforehand?" She started going off about how we're so well off, so what's the big deal? And she's sure her brother wouldn't have an issue with it. I asked her why her fiance doesn't foot the bill, or my in-laws, and where in her right mind she thinks it's okay to spring this on me. She started going on about how we're the wealthiest in both her and her fiance's family, and that she didn't think I would act like this and would say yes. I told her, well, sorry, I'm not your parents. Don't expect handouts from me. She called me selfish and I called her an entitled brat, paid for my half of the bill and left. Well, as expected, my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and even some of the cousins and aunts on my husband's side have been absolutely furious with me and are expecting me to apologize for the comments. I told them over my dead body. Husband is 100% on my side, and we're debating on not going to the wedding. I was talking to my mom and she thinks I took it too far with the comments and should just apologize to keep the peace. Am I the asshole? Info: the bill was close to $1,000 USD. I feel like your sister-in-law is the one that's the true asshole in this whole story because it's kinda like how you pointed out, she just sprung it on you. She could have at least talked to you and your husband first, but instead she wanted to try to put you on the spot, I think trying to force your hand. Definitely not the asshole. This next one is by Throwaway5291926. Am I the asshole for not giving my sister her wedding dress because she didn't invite my underage son? I, 40 male, have a sister, 30 female, who is getting married in a week. The groom proposed to her a year ago at a family dinner that left everyone speechless, but very happy for them as they are longtime companions. During this dinner, my sister asked my son, 17 male, to make her wedding dress. My son has always loved design and fashion. He took technical courses in these areas and sewing, and even his friends keep asking for his clothes because they're so beautiful. He agreed, but said he needed time and that he would need her opinion constantly. At first, my sister was very annoying. My son drew about 50 dress designs in a month, and she only liked one, which he continued with. He sewed it with great quality fabric, which I paid for as I wanted to get involved in a certain way. For 5 months, he made several adjustments to her wishes, as she always complained about something. After a while, he arrived at the final model, and it was amazing. My mother cried seeing my sister in the dress, and I confess, I almost got emotional too. The problem was that last week my son came to talk to me about the wedding invitation that had not arrived for him, but for other family members. I thought maybe he didn't need one, but it still felt weird. I messaged my sister raising the issue, and she replied that she didn't want any underage people at her wedding because there would be alcohol. I asked if she was going to make an exception for my son, but she cut me off and said no. There are no children in our family. My son is the only minor, so I didn't see any sense in this rule for family members. And to make matters worse, my son was very sad and cried because he spent a few months on the dress and couldn't go to the wedding. I was very upset and told my sister that she should look for another dress as soon as possible, as she would no longer wear the one my son made. She called and yelled at me, saying I was being unreasonable and that I couldn't do this. My mother called me saying I should deliver the dress and follow the rules, but I didn't and hung up on her. Because of this, the family is divided. Many agree with me and condemn my sister's actions, saying she could only make an exception, but another part says I'm unreasonable and I'm spoiling her big day. I don't think I'm being wrong, but just rational and paying her back in kind. So, am I the asshole? Update. First, I would like to thank all the comments and suggestions. I really didn't expect my post to resonate so much. I talked to my son about the suggestions you guys gave me, and he agreed to sell the dress at market price. He calculated the price of everything, and the value was quite high. We sent the proposal to my sister, and she hated it. She said she couldn't afford it because it was too expensive, and it should be a gift because she is family. I responded by saying that it was too easy to say she was family to get a free dress, but not enough to include my son. She cried on the call and begged me not to ruin her day, but I didn't call because that to me was bullshit. At no point did she offer to just let my son go or apologize for it. And for anyone who said that maybe she's homophobic, I'm not sure. But I think who could be influencing her is her fiance, who is Christian and has never been close to my son. However, I don't care if he's doing it or not. If she wants to exclude my son from this event, then she will also be cutting ties with me. And for those who are asking for a photo of the dress, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but my son didn't agree, and unfortunately, I won't post it because of that. If anything else happens, I'll let you know. Until then, thank you all. Yeah, nor you or your son are an asshole in this situation. The fact that she wants to exclude the maker of her dress, can't even make an exception, and put the responsibility on you to make sure he doesn't end up drinking or anything like that, it just goes to show a lot. And then the fact that she demands the dress for free for being family, it just kinda sinks her own ship. And our final one is from Birthday Girl is Fine. Am I the asshole for ruining my son's sister's first birthday? My ex's new wife called me 3 weeks ago and said that she just realized her daughter's birthday was on my week. She asked me to please bring my son to the party or drop him off the night before, and they'd bring him back the next morning. She was very entitled about it. She presented me with 2 options, when I don't have to do either. I said I would think about it, and she got huffy and said he has to be at his little sister's party. I again said I would think about it, and she continued to argue, so I hung up. The day before the party, I asked my son, "Do you want to go to sister's birthday party?" He said he did, so I texted her to tell her he would be there and asked her for the time of the party. She told me it was at noon. So we got there at 12:30 and there were no other cars, which was weird. We went inside. My ex said he needed to talk to me, and I said that wasn't necessary and asked where the party guests were. He said he needed to prepare me before I saw his wife. I said, "Why? Is she pregnant or something?" He said she was, and I just rolled my eyes. Again, I asked where the party guests were. He said the party was at 2 o'clock, but they wanted to make sure I had time to put myself together before the party. I told him he needed to quit with the soap opera drama because I don't have time for it. I took time out of my day to accommodate them, but they blew it. I'm not hanging out with them in an empty house for over an hour, and I'm not wasting gas to leave and come back. I took my son to the park and we had a nice day, but my ex texted me a bunch about how I was punishing his daughter for the pregnancy. I don't care that his wife is pregnant. My only response was a text that said, "Grow up." My son asked about his sister's birthday, and I said there was a mix-up with the party time, which is true, and they would all celebrate together when he was at his dad's, so he was chill. My mom said I hurt the birthday girl, but she's 1. She's not going to notice who's at her party. My mom told me to be the bigger person, but I feel there is a limit to that. I'm not going to reward lying and trickery in my ex any more than I would reward it if my 6-year-old did it. Am I the asshole for leaving and not coming back? I don't think you're an asshole at all for this. My question is why do they think you need to, quote, prepare for the party? You asked for the time, you were given a time, it was the wrong time. At that point, you can no longer attend because you planned for the time they told you, not a time that they told you after you arrived. Alright, that's enough stories for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Am I the Asshole? If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.